We got a message 12 hours before this video was scheduled to go live. It named all 3 stories in this compilation. We hadn't announced any of them yet. This channel gets submissions the way most archives do, through the site, through email, sometimes through comments buried 3 replies deep. Most of them we can post without a second thought. These 3 came with a request attached, in 3 different forms, from 3 people who didn't know each other, asking us not to. We're posting them anyway. If you're the reason any of this feels familiar, we'd like to hear from you. The lobby directory goes from 12 to 14. The elevator panel doesn't. Renata Cole moved into the Ashford Tower in March, a glass and steel high-rise with the kind of amenities that make the rent almost make sense. She noticed the button on day 2, small, unlit, wedged between 12 and 14, stamped with a 13 that had been there since the building was constructed in 1987. She asked the doorman about it. He said the button was decorative, a leftover from before the building renumbered its floors for superstitious tenants. Cosmetic, disconnected, dead. That was the official answer. It was also, she'd learn, not true. Because 6 weeks later, at 11:47 p.m., the button lit up on its own while she was standing alone in the car, and the elevator did not stop at 12 or 14. Renata wrote it all the way down to the lobby without incident, told herself it was a wiring fault, and reported it to building management the next morning. They apologized, said they'd have someone look at the panel, and did. A technician came, tested the button, confirmed it wasn't wired to anything at all. No circuit, no connection, physically incapable of lighting up. It happened again 9 days later, same time, within a few minutes. Same result. The elevator dipped, almost imperceptibly, like it had stopped and reconsidered, and then continued down without opening its doors. Renata started taking the stairs after 11 p.m. She also started keeping a log, dates and times, on her phone, the way people do when they need proof for a future argument they haven't had yet. 11:52 p.m. It just happened again. Same floor. I have it on video this time. 11:53 p.m. Can you call me first thing tomorrow? 6:14 a.m. Disregard the video. I deleted it. Sorry to bother you. Renata never explained why she deleted the video. And when asked directly, months later, she said only that the footage showed the doors opening, which they hadn't, on any other night. Ever. The button on the panel was removed during a lobby renovation the following spring. The directory in the lobby still skips from 12 to 14. Nobody has asked her about the elevator since, and she has stopped bringing it up. The padlock was on the inside. None of them had put it there. The Delacroix family had ridden out tornado warnings in the same underground shelter behind their house for 11 years. A concrete box, 1 door, 1 working flashlight, built by the previous owner, and inherited along with the property. They hadn't used it since 2019. The warning that night came in fast. Sirens at 9:40. Shelter door open by 9:44. The father, Curtis, noticed the padlock first. A heavy brass lock, looped through the inside latch, keeping the door from being opened from outside, not from inside. He was certain, because he'd installed the shelter's only lock himself years ago, and it hung on a hook by the door, untouched, exactly where he'd left it. He didn't say anything to his wife, or his 2 kids, not with the wind already picking up outside and the door already shut behind them. They sat through 11 minutes of the loudest part of the storm in a shelter that was, as far as any of them could tell from a first glance, exactly as empty as it always was. 4 camp chairs, a first aid kit, a battery lantern, concrete walls. It was his daughter who noticed the second detail, the one Curtis had missed in the dark. On the concrete wall behind the chairs, at roughly shoulder height, 4 sets of initials had been scratched into the surface, along with a date from 11 years prior, the same year they'd bought the house. None of the initials matched anyone in the family. All 4 sets were positioned exactly where each of them was currently sitting. Don't look at the wall behind you. I mean it. Just don't turn around until I say it's clear. The storm cleared by 10:20. The Delacroix family left the shelter and never spoke about the initials again, not even among themselves, according to Curtis, an agreement that seemed to form silently and immediately. The padlock was gone the next morning, back on its hook by the door, exactly where it always hung. They have not gone back down since, storm or no storm, and the shelter door has been left open to the weather ever since, which Curtis says was a decision, not an oversight. The app kept failing to route her there. Then it stopped failing the moment she typed the address in herself. Jenna Ruiz drove for a delivery app on weeknights to cover rent between semesters, and by the time this happened, she'd learned every dead zone and glitch the app had, which made the 9th order of the night stand out because the app itself seemed reluctant to send her there. The address kept generating a routing error, unable to calculate route, 3 times in a row, for a delivery 4 minutes from her current location on a street she'd driven 100 times. On the 4th attempt, she typed the address manually instead of tapping the suggested PIN. The error cleared instantly, and the app routed her without hesitation, as if it had simply been waiting to be asked directly. The house was dark, except for a porch light. And the order, a single item, a bag of ice. Nothing else. No name attached to the account beyond a string of numbers was already unusual enough that Jenna almost called it in as suspicious before she'd even parked. She left the bag on the step per the delivery instructions, which read only, "Do not knock, do not wait, do not look through the window." She didn't look through the window. She did, without meaning to, catch her own reflection in the glass storm door as she turned to leave. And for less than a second, the porch light behind her threw a second shadow onto the door alongside her own, standing close enough to be touching her shoulder. Gone by the time she'd registered it and turned around to check. "The account that placed order number 4912, can you tell me if it's active? Just curious who it belongs to. I'm not able to share customer account details. Is there an issue with the delivery?" "No, never mind. Actually, can you delete my access to the delivery photo I took? I don't want it in my history." Jenna stopped taking late-night orders after that, though she never fully explained why beyond the ice one. The account tied to order number 409-112 placed one further order 2 weeks later, routed to a different driver for the same single item with the same 3 delivery instructions attached. That driver has not posted publicly about the delivery. The account has not ordered again since. 3 submissions, 3 requests not to post them. We don't know if the person who messaged us was one of the 3 people involved, or someone else entirely who simply knew before we did. If any of these details line up with something you've seen, the initials, the shadow, the button that isn't wired to anything, the archive is still open. We'd still like to hear from you.